Yeah.
Got your kids here.
Yep.
Should we introduce them, or are we going to leave them out in the crowd there?
Well, Mackie couldn't make it, so we had
we had to
Diego come in, and yeah.
Oh, Diego's the
board,
that's
yeah.
right. Yeah. Diego's doing that. We have a huge studio audience tonight.
Yeah.
Right, Doug Tilk.
Doug, Diego, Luna.
This is the perfect night.
Doug's here too, and Diego.
Let me tell you, I was thrilled. I mean, I love it when we have a big studio audience. But when Doug shows up with like a dozen shrimp cocktails and nobody else shows up, guess what happens? We get to munch out. Doug, thank you.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate that. That was so good. And man, it's great. Here we are, Christmas. I saw, actually, I assume like wives or girlfriends or something walking out with reels today, unless they're fishermen, which could be fisher persons. But you had wives and coming in and buying their husband stuff, it looked like to me here toward the end of the day.
Yep, we've had that all day long. This was actually a high school friend of mine's wife. She was picking up a gift for their son, and so that's going to be his. He was getting a bait caster reel he's going to be fishing with this year. So that was that one. But we had it all day long. So
Did you really? Good.
Yeah. Pretty steady all day.
Are you open Christmas Eve?
So tomorrow we'll be here at least a half a day. I'll be here at 10, and we'll see how long it goes. But I would say up till maybe 2 o'clock, maybe, or something like that. We'll see how it goes, and then we get to do our Christmas Eve stuff after that. I'll go home and we'll continue with that.
Yeah. Do you have a big celebration Christmas Eve in your house or not?
Yeah. So for us, on my side of the family, we get together Christmas Eve. So that'll be tomorrow night. Big party right here in Carson.
Yeah.
And then on Christmas Day, we get together with my wife's family, and then we do that day. And then so we get to do it all. So they get 2 days of Christmas parties.
That sounds like fun to me.
Yeah.
Shoot. Do you see our trip up there on the island sphere, that big lingcod?
You guys killed it, yeah.
Yeah, great.
All the way around. I mean, that lingcod was obviously, a fish of a lifetime right there. That's catching a 50-pound yellowtail or something like that. But you guys had quality fish all day long, it looked like.
We did. Yeah, it was just another great trip. Every time we go out there to that hidden reef area, it's just fantastic. And
so that hidden reef, is it like deeper water, or is it just kind of a certain high spot that's hard to get to because of the wind? Or
you know what? It just was closed for so long. It just reopened recently. It was closed for decades. And it actually comes up, one spot of it I know because I was up there in the wheelhouse and we rolled by a spot that came up to 17 fathoms.
Oh, okay.
And we actually drifted near that, and it was just straight nice boccaccio.
Yeah.
Out on the edge of it. But then we'd fish 500, 600 feet of water. And, guys with their electric reels, man, we're just, Doug was doing that. How many electric wheels would you say?
There was probably like 12 guys.
Like dozen. I was going to say a dozen.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You hear them all.
I know.
All day,
yeah.
That's cool.
And, like me, I'm the kind of guy like, I don't know if I want to do that or not. Then you watch these guys and you're like, man, that looks pretty cool, man. Yeah, coming up from the depths there. So great trip, and the weather couldn't have been any better. And we had, although it was a ways off, an incredible show of humpback whales. You could see them back there on the horizon, and all you would see is this white water exploding because they were breaching out of the water, and it looked like there were 2, 3, 4 of them.
Oh.
It was fabulous, man.
Especially you guys had that calm weather, so you could see that stuff far away.
Yeah, it was like a summer day, man.
Yeah.
It was cold, man, going out and everything.
Yeah.
But it was great.
Air temperature was down.
Yes.
Was it sunny the rest of the day, kind of?
No, the
overcast?
sun broke out like right when we were going to head it for home.
Okay.
Like I remember walking by somebody, I forget, Chad maybe, and saying, oh, shoot, here comes the sun, Chuck Zimmer.
Yeah.
And hey, Chuck, thank you. President of the Redondo Beach Rod and Gun Club donated a couple of rods, and guess who won the rod?
Mr. Doug Kilk.
Mr. Doug Kilk. Yes, Doug Kilk won the rod. Scott Bucher is going to be very disappointed you're not coming this Friday, man. He's going. Actually, he's going. He says he is.
Nice.
So, really a great trip. Wonderful, wonderful time. All right, so people can still come in here tomorrow.
Yeah.
And grab a Christmas gift.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell everybody? Are you doing any deals or anything, or?
No, not really. I have had a couple guys ask me if we're doing like an end of year sale or something like that. I hadn't really kind of thought of it too much, but at this point now, I have had quite a few guys ask me about it. So we'll probably run something similar to what we had Black Friday. That seemed to have gotten a pretty good turnout, but we'll see. I think everybody's still kind of fired up buying stuff here before Christmas, but once they realize how much they spent after the day after Christmas, we'll see.
Yeah, really. They're back in line, like, hey, or at the pawn shop or something. Yeah, really.
We'll see how that goes. But yeah, we'll probably run something similar to that this weekend coming up.
And your kids are here tonight, so are you guys doing anything special for the Christmas holidays? You going anywhere? Or
no,
just hanging out as a family?
Yeah, doing more family stuff here. Yeah, we still kind of are looking at it. We were actually planning on trying to go, because we've gone the last few years up to Big Bear, but there's no snow yet up there.
Oh, really?
And
yeah, that's right.
No snow yet, so we've kind of trying to still think of what we're going to do. So kind of, we had that plan from a while back, thinking about going back, because we've done it every year, but I don't know, we'll see.
Right on. And how about them Fighting Irish, man?
Shoo! Got lucky once again.
Oh my God! Now
Who are they
Georgia.
Georgia. Oh, that's it. Yeah.
I don't know. Do you know what the line on that game is? Notre Dame was favored by 1.5 points, and then when it just, I don't know, just recently it swung toward Georgia to 1.5 points. But 1.5 points, man, they're telling you that it's going to be a very tight game.
Yeah.
Which surprises me, because Georgia's really.
They swing at one side to get the bettors on the one side, and then they swing at the other to catch the others. At the end of the day, it's going to be a close game, probably.
Yeah, I think. So anyway, this isn't a college football show. So you want to read a couple comments?
Sure.
All right, is that okay with you kids? All right, thank you. Chad Christopher, he was on the trip, and it was great having him out there. He had that Frankenstein lingcod jig that you guys put together. That freaking thing will work. I'll tell you that right now. He didn't get a chance to really use it that much, but I guarantee it would work. Good evening, my friend Sam and Phil. This is a two-parter. First, to thank the both of you for everything you've done. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Sam, I can always count on you to service my gear and set me up for my trips. So there you are.
You got it.
That's great. And this is the time of the year to service your gear, right?
Yeah. In fact, we have been getting some more guys coming in with their stuff, but surprisingly not as much as we do other years. And maybe the fishing wasn't as hard as it was on some guys' gear. I don't know. But you're right. If you guys know you're not going to fish coming up here, especially maybe not all your gear, but maybe your tuna gear, the stuff you're not going to fish for the next 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't be a bad idea to bring that down if that's something you thought you wanted to do. And the earlier, the more frequently you bring it down, the better shape it's going to be for us to not have to change so many parts. Sometimes the guy waits till they can't hardly turn the handle anymore. We're having to change a bunch of bearings or other parts inside the reel, and it ends up being quite costly. So my recommendation is bring it in once a year, this time of year, and you always know your stuff's going to be in good shape. And then sometimes not even mechanically, sometimes maybe you lost a bunch of line in a tangle or things like that. So we may be able to even get that kind of going, because I have a feeling, and I know you mentioned it this morning, that we might have a good springtime season. I think.
Boy, it's sure looking like it.
So yeah, the way things are lining up, you guys. I mean, I would say before you know it, it's going to be like game on, and your gear's not going to be ready. Then you're going to come down with everybody else, and your stuff's just not going to be ready. So if you bring it down now, when we're kind of going to be in a little bit of a lull here, at least for the next month or so.
Yeah.
I think this is a good time, and we can just get your reel and your line and your rods too. Check your rods, your guides, all that kind of stuff. And if you're not sure, you can bring it down, and I don't mind checking it out and saying, you know what, man, you're good. Because there are times when a guy will bring a reel, he's like, you know what, I bought this in May. I haven't really had it a whole season. I don't really want to service it if I don't have to. And I would say at least a third of the time, I'll tell them, you know what, you're looking good. You're good.
Yeah.
The one thing you couldn't really do that with is line. If you lost a bunch of line, bring in your reel.
You got to get
that fixed up.
Yeah.
But as far as the reels, bring them in, and I can do a little bit of a checkup on them. I can't really do it over the phone. Sometimes guys will ask me over the phone, like, I've had it this long, and I did this with it. What do you think? I'm like, I don't know until
it depends. How much abuse.
Yeah. But, on the other side, too, you get it serviced. It's $35. You get it serviced, and now you don't have to worry about it. There's no question.
Yeah, true.
And so, to me, I feel like it's
How much is it?
$35.
Oh, that's such great insurance.
So, for that plus parts, so if it needs parts, that's extra. But a lot of times, the guy who takes care of their stuff, it's pretty minimal on parts. And guys who don't, it's not so minimal on parts. So
right.
Just the way it goes.
So you're mentioning, or you referenced that I mentioned, the spring looks good, and principally because of all this squid.
Yep.
So did you see that squid footage I ran? I don't know if you saw that from the commercial center. The guy, Matt, he sends me stuff all the time. Guess who, I'll give you one chance to tell me, who do you think he asked me to say hello to for him?
Matt? I don't know.
Scott Buchert. You did, actually, because I've worked with Scott on the Mission Bell, and, and I go, oh, shoot, really? Yeah, that's great. He goes, oh, you talk about him all the time, and I laugh.
His influence stretches far
It's like,
and
yeah,
wide.
I got to get Scott, on here, man.
Yes.
More often, our views will go through the roof. Can't we get him to sit on the bucket back here?
He probably wouldn't.
Michael Limon, forget it. All right, very good. Hey, and Tyler Tanaka says, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Friedman Adventures, friends and family. By the way, before I read Tyler's next comment, we're going to come down here, and he's going to do some product review stuff of stuff he says he's bought and he's gone through and everything else. He's very knowledgeable and very well spoken.
That's what I was going to say too. He'd probably be. We were just talking about that earlier before we started the show. Is just some other things to do.
Yeah,
he'd be great at it. He actually is. He's very well spoken, and he's honest about what he's gone through as far as his experiences with different tackles. So I know me and him have gone through some discussions about different things, and so I like talking to him just because I think it's easy for us to kind of understand what we're saying, and so I think he'd be great for sure.
Good. I'm happy to hear that. Tyler, I'm sorry about the Tennessee team, by the way. On Saturday, got kind of pummeled by Ohio State.
That was a rough one.
Sorry I can't make it there to the show in person, or to 3 shows in a row. Enjoying time with the Tanaka family. That sounds good to us, Tyler. No question about it. We send you all our very best. Thank you for your love of the fishing community and hard work to educate, entertain, and bring us together. Sam, it's really been fun. How long have we been doing this?
I don't know.
Have we been doing it for a year? Or yeah, like before it. Have we been doing it a year or 2 years?
More than a year, I'm sure.
Yeah?
I would think. Because I think we talked about our trip last year, our long-range trip, so I don't know. It's something like that. I mean, you'd have to look back to see.
Yeah, I'll go back and look one of these times. Yeah, that's crazy.
You said I was going to get a pay raise after a year.
Yo, you got it. Just same as me. 1,000%.
5 extra wings.
Just take whatever you're making. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. All right, Chad Christopher, Mr. Friedman, my friend, Phil, thank you for all you do. You, my friend, are a pillar and the structure of my fishing pier and friends. I've made great friendships with the Friedman Adventures family. Chad, I feel so blessed to call you a friend, man. You are the man. I'll tell you that really, really, really means a lot. And it was great to see you on that last trip. Chad says, Sam, fishing isn't politics. However, with the new administration and threats of tariffs, are you hearing from distributors of a price hike? Is it better to buy now than after January 20th?
Buy now.
Yeah, exactly. You always buy now.
Yeah. You know what? It's hard to say. I mean, this is going to probably take many forms. Because that stuff's going to affect, I'm sure, different categories in different ways. So, maybe a guy who's building a rod maybe has to pay more for parts, and maybe more for the reel seats, but maybe not more for the guides or something like that. So it may be something that might be a little more complicated than that. I would imagine for sure there's going to be some things that are going to change. Specifically to fishing, I'm sure it's going to be the same thing. I mean, maybe lures from one brand because they're made in one country is going to change, and then maybe that same brand, maybe they're making their fishing line in another country. So I think it's going to be a little more complicated than just saying, okay, you better buy everything that you're ever going to need in the next 2 months. But I would say, if you think you have the money now, it's definitely not going to go down in price. But as to how much it's going to go up and which products are going to go up, I think that's still a lot to be decided. And I'm sure that's going to be also affected by maybe where the parts are made. And I'm sure there's times where half the product line is made in one country, and then the other part is made in another country. So it's going to get a little complicated as to all that, as far as fishing stuff is concerned. So, I would say if you need it sometime this coming year, probably earlier is not going to be any worse than later. We'll definitely see some of that maybe at the shows coming up. So we have January 30th being the first show. I think that by that time we may have some ideas of some stuff that may come down the line, and then the next show there after that is going to be in March at the PCS show. I think by then we'll have a more concrete idea, and maybe by then we have possibly seen some of those increases come through. But we'll have to see. I mean, it's definitely something that we're thinking about, but I don't think it's going to, really affect us as much as we think. Hopefully, we'll have to see. That stuff can it's kind of above my pay grade.
Those shows are like right around the freaking corner, man.
Yeah.
They seem like they're way out there, but they're not, man.
It's like next year. Well, next year's next week already. Yeah.
Yeah. And Chad mentioned politics. I heard somebody say, "Hey, do you know what the derivation of the word politics is?" No, it's like poly, many, ticks, like bloodsuckers, many bloodsuckers. I thought that was pretty funny. Politics.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Good evening. Robert Slager says hello, and then Chris Navarro says, good evening, Grandpa Phil. And Sam, I am. Merry Christmas. Enjoyed having wings with you guys. Yeah, that was fun last week, man. We had a big crowd down there.
We did. Like 10 of us over there. So
Yeah.
That was cool.
Good stuff. Chris, Merry Christmas to you. Chad says, next holiday season, great Sam's List. All your create a Sam's List. All your customers can create an online wish list.
Yeah.
Does that sound good?
Yeah, that'd be pretty good. Yeah.
Robert Graber, who was there on board. Robert, it's great to see you. There's a guy that is so generous, brought donuts for everybody on the boat. We had 45 people on that boat.
Jesus, that's a lot of donuts.
On a Friday. Yeah, there was donuts left over, man. The guy was great. Robert, so good to see you. And go Irish. He's a big Notre Dame fan. Good evening, Sam, Phil, and the Friedman Adventures family. Merry Christmas Eve. Blessed Christmas wishes to all. Thank you so much, Robert. Chris Navarro, Sam, what's your go-to jig for lings or a few favorites? Man, I tell you, that's a hot topic right now with that big ling.
Yeah, typically with the ling cod, you want to provide a larger presentation. That's why, guys will catch them on the sand dabs or catch them on mackerel. But as far as a jig, any of those tuna jigs that you guys have bought over the last 4 or 5 years, especially the longer ones, in the 300 to 500 gram size, I think you can't go wrong. Most of the times you're going to probably want to get something that has some red in it or some orange to kind of simulate a rockfish. But I think the one that they caught that fish on was kind of more of a greenish color, I think. Or
yeah, right?
Kind of a chartreuse color.
I showed the jig, right?
I've seen it on the show.
Yeah.
And so, but, I don't know how many of you guys were fishing that type of jig on your trip. But, obviously it worked. They caught a big fish on it. But, I've seen lots of reports where guys have caught a big ling cod. Has been, I would say half the time is, when they're catching it on a jig, it's on a longer knife jig. So, don't worry about it being compact or having any specific, hips or shape to it, something like that. I think a longer jig is going to be where you want to go. 300 to 500 grams. And something, in my opinion, I think like a red or orange would be better. But obviously, that doesn't always have to be true. Even a green, because they do eat mackerel.
We probably had half a dozen guys slow pitching or just jigging, right?
A lot of guys were slow pitching, not with slow pitch.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and there was an old school guy, Dave, that was just bouncing an iron. He was like, man, I don't get any bait on me. I don't get all screwed up. I just fish iron. He was bit constantly.
Oh, yeah. I would imagine, too, where you guys were fishing and the fish were biting, that's the time where you're going to be able to use that kind of gear and have some fun. I mean, we've been selling a little bit of that stuff here the last few months, guys that are kind of getting into the rockfish time of the year and into that mode. They're trying something different. And I think it's a style of fishing, and I think it's something that you have to try as to whether you like it or not. I think it's effective. And like anything else, there's sometimes where it's more effective and sometimes where it's not, So it's not going to be the thing that replaces all your tackle or something like that. Sometimes a nice big bait is going to be what they want to eat. But, from the fishing that you guys had, I think that jigging would work just fine.
All right, good stuff. Chad Christopher is back, and he says, Sam's List, everyone good or bad. Put an island tackle list to help your loved ones buy exactly what you want. Perfect.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Sounds good, Chad.
Like a registry, kind of. Huh?
Yeah, right?
Right.
Yeah. Tony Gonzalez, good evening, everyone. I see the Bloody Decks Fishing report, and he has mentioned a few times of boats catching Mexican reds in the Channel Islands. I've never heard of them. Is this true or not? I was talking to Daniel Hadaway. What did he tell me? He fished somewhere like in the shipping channel in deep water and was straight Mexican rockfish.
Rockfish, yeah.
Yeah, they don't see it that often. He said it was straight, nothing other than that. So, man, there's some really, cows and all kinds of nice fish.
Yeah.
You got to think that you look at all this stuff that's going on, all that squid and the rock fishing so good and this bluefin tuna bite. You hear all the time that the ocean's not healthy and, we're going to be out of fish next week and, all this fear-mongering nonsense. the ocean seems to be in pretty good shape.
Well, at least our part of it is, I mean, it's hard to really kind of take that as a snapshot of the whole world.
Right.
We're only really looking at a small sliver. But, I would imagine that what we're looking at here locally is looking pretty darn good.
Tony says he's trying to be funny, but I'm telling you, that's what Daniel told me, Tony.
So I think if he's trying to be funny, calling it a Mexican rockfish. No, that is a separate species.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Kind of like a red, but it is kind of has a little bit darker parts to it.
Yes.
I think I've heard it called other things down in Baja, but I can't remember right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's kind of like a red, but a lot of times they'll call it Mexican rockfish. Yeah.
Yes. And Tony says, I have asked him and never answers.
Okay.
That's you. Why don't you answer Tony?
I just did.
He's a really, yeah, you did.
Yeah.
So did I, Tony. Calm down out there. Should be here, man. There's still more shrimp cocktail here.
There is.
And we're not finished with it yet, man. Oh my God. I got shrimp coming out my ears thanks to Doug Tilk. All you guys who didn't show tonight for the Christmas Eve party, man, you missed it. I'll tell you that
about
right
20
now.
minutes, man. Get on down here.
Yeah, no. Maybe Luna and Diego want some of that. You guys want some? You like shrimp?
I've tried it before. Like it. I've never tried it.
Well, we'll see about that. We might have to although something tells me they'd like chicken wings even better, right? All right. Carlos G. Hello, Sam and Phil. Hey, Carlos, good to have you with us. Feliz Navidad. Can anybody up north by Ventura County tell me how the surf is doing up there? Dockweiler Beach kind of sucks right now. Thanks. Merry Christmas, everyone. Carlos, good to hear from you. I've heard bar perch up there, it's kind of water temps are cold now,
Yeah,
so
cold,
you're not catching a whole lot of corbina or yellowfin croaker occasionally, but not much. I've heard guys right down the street from us just really doing well. But man, have you seen the surf lately? It's big.
Yeah. I would say one of the things to look at right now, you'd probably have to go pretty far north, but that squid, I bet you, is pulling a lot of that halibut and stuff off the beach. So into deeper water. And so I would say as long as that squid's around, it's probably going to be pretty lean on that kind of fishing. Although that perch is not really known for eating the squid, but I don't know, maybe they do too. They got those teeth. But I would say you probably have to go far north. And I don't know if that squid's probably up there in Ventura as well. I'm sure
it is.
Everywhere. So you'd probably have to go like to Morro Bay or something like that, which is kind of a drive. But from what I hear around here locally, yeah, a few perch here and there. The water has kind of dropped pretty good here in the last couple of days. So maybe that'll kind of stabilize a little bit and it'll get better again.
DJ TJ Smooth. Happy holidays, gentlemen. Happy holidays to you and all your loved ones. JJ, Merry Christmas. Phil and Sam, thank you, JJ, for joining us. No doubt about it. Chris Navarro, the surf in Hermosa Beach was off the hook. It was flowing over the break wall at the yacht club. Yeah, it's pretty nasty out there right now. Hey, I think I jumped over.
Yeah, Robert.
I did. And Chris, let's see. Chris said, YouTube link above. Watch it after Tackle Shop Confessions. Hit the like button and subscribe. Thank you so much, Chris. Robert Graver. Carlos, the surf up here is definitely up and gnarly, but I haven't seen the 12 to 18 footers they were predicting. Supposed to be building the next couple of days, however. Perfect. We love it. Chris Satter. Merry Christmas, Island Fishing, or Chad, I'm sorry. Chad, you know Chad?
Yeah, that's my brother-in-law.
Really?
Yeah.
Hey, Chad.
Good dude.
Merry Christmas, my friend. Jeff Fuchs says, Merry Christmas, Sam and Phil, and Happy New Year. Hey, Jeff, thanks for joining us tonight. We really appreciate it. And he says, yeah, very cold water. I was amazed that I walked out on the beach today, and it was really not that cold. It was nice.
I think sometimes...
The air temp.
Oh, okay. I know sometimes, when I used to do a little bit more surf fishing is, especially in the wintertime, is that when you would walk to the water, it felt really cold in the sand. And then you get to the water, it'd be like, oh, it felt warm, but it was just the difference in temperature.
Correct. Yeah,
and
I get that all the time, man.
And I'm sure after a little while, it wasn't so warm anymore. But yeah, I mean, it can be pretty cold this time of year.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. Hey, Mackie, we miss you here tonight, but I know you're moving and running around like crazy. How can you tell it was a Mexican rockfish? Did you ask for its passport? Man, we need a little rim shot on that one. That's a good one, let me tell you. Chad Christopher. Sam, reels, question. I am an American-made Abbott guy. I have 6 Raptor, JX6 Raptor, and my Pro EXW50Y. What Abbott reel is the best to handle the 80 PD setup?
80-pound setup. I would say from what you have there, you're well, no, you're kind of missing one in between. So that HX or HX wide Raptor would be perfect. And if you could swing a few extra bucks, the 3-speed is a really nice option. That 3-speed option is, I think, one that a lot of guys look over, or they think, maybe I don't need it. But I will tell you, especially if you're going to be targeting big fish and going down there to catch that big bluefin, especially, that low gear is definitely going to be worth the while. So your HX, as far as your size, I would just probably go with an HX wide. Seems like you have a big gap between your JX and that 50 wide. So that HX wide would be a good one there for you in the 3-speed.
All right, great stuff. Hey, hit that like button, everybody. Don't forget, Sam is open tomorrow until about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so you can still come down and get a Christmas present. And all you got to do is explain to Sam or his great staff here, hey, my husband likes this kind of fishing, or he goes out of San Pedro, or just give him a vague idea of what it is, and you guys will be able to match a good gift up, right?
That's actually one of the things that we do a lot of this time of year is, someone will come in and they don't know what to buy. And a lot of times we can take care of them with a T-shirt and a gift card. That's really easy. But let's just say they want to buy on some tackle and they come in here, they kind of get a little bit overwhelmed. They're like, oh man, I don't know what to do. So we'll ask them those questions. Do you know where he's gone? Maybe what kind of boat he's fished on? Maybe if they have their own boat or their buddy, has a boat. And we ask a few questions, get some ideas, and we can pretty much nail it down and get them what they want, whether it's like a $40 item or a $400 item. We can make it work.
All right, perfect. So come on down and see Sam. He will be here tomorrow, like I said, until about 2 o'clock. Live free, die free. Merry Christmas, Phil, Sam, and the Friedman Adventures family. Live free, die free. Always great to see you. I see you every morning on the morning briefing, and really, really appreciate your great support. Mackie says, cool granddaddy, who's a great guy. Abe, it was so good to see you and Gus on the trip. Mackie, same way you tell if it's a Florida cutoffs and tank top. Yes, must be that, Abe. Raul Amaraz says, Phil, Sam, happy holidays. Sam, would an MK20 be a good fit for my 2x4? Raul, good to see you, man.
Raul,
Merry Christmas.
Be perfect, yeah. Those Macara 20s are a beast, and that rod's a beast, so you'd be good for sure.
All right, Chad Christopher. Here, a live sale happening. Sam, set aside my Abbott reel you mentioned. I'll get it tomorrow.
I'll be here, man.
Boom!
Yeah, there you go.
Wow.
Perfect.
Man, Chad, shit, you should have come tonight.
I got some shrimp
There's a shrimp cocktail waiting for you, man. Buy that Macara reel tonight and get a shrimp cocktail, courtesy of Doug Tilk out there. Man, good stuff. We're out of questions here. I have some details and stuff to cover, but we could do what Diego and Luna want to do and just cut for the chicken wings right now and shut the show off. Hey, looking back at this year, and this is really more appropriate if we're going to do the show next week before New Year's Eve, but what a year. It was an incredibly good year. I hear some people saying, it wasn't that great, but man, I just feel like fishing nowadays is so phenomenal that the bar is so high now that, man, you should have been around back in the late 70s and the 80s sometimes in Redondo when we were catching like a blue perch for 80 people on a half-day boat, if you were lucky.
Well, I would say that, it's always going to be a matter of perspective. If you measure it against, if you went on a trip this year and you went on the same trip last year and last year was better, well, that's all you're using. On any one given day, a specific date, it could have been better one year or the next. So that's a hard one, and that's all we have to go by as a fisherman, as someone who has their own point of view. The only thing you have to go on is your own experiences. And so I would say this year we had a little bit more weather than we had the last couple of years. So if by chance your trip fell on one of those days, especially if you're booked on one of your trips that are notorious for having weather, then maybe you did.
That's all a thing of the past now, man.
But maybe that would have caused you to have that, outlook on it, But overall, if you look at fishing now versus, or even just looked at it, in a 20-year cycle, so to speak, we're at the very top. We're at the very top of a cycle right now. And even though, like I said, in a very short period, you can measure that, but that's usually not the best way to measure things because, cycles happen over a longer period. I feel like we're at the very top of a cycle right now still, in a peak that up to now, I don't think we've ever seen anything this prolonged. We've had El Niños, obviously, and had some incredible fishing in the past, and those cycles usually a 1 to 2 year type of thing where we really see some great fishing. We've had great fishing, by a long stretch over 8 years now. And so to me, I feel like, this current good fishing cycle is at least 4 times as long as I've ever seen or even heard of. And so to me, it's hard to really say we haven't had good fishing. But like anything else, everybody's got their own point of view, and they're going to look at whatever they went through this year. And maybe last year they were on a trip and they got 40 200-pounders, and this year they only got 1. So of course this year's not so good.
Yeah,
but,
right.
It's just the way fishing is. Sometimes it's it's going to be tough to measure that way. I think you have to look at it more of a long-term thing, and that's why I tell people you got to go fishing right now when you can. This cycle that we're going through, it seems like it's going to go forever, just the way it's been going. And I think as optimists, we always kind of look at it that way. But history shows that at some point it's going to be over. And so for you guys that are looking at waiting, and I'm going to wait for it to be a little bit better and stuff like that, I mean, for all we know, that was it, and next year we won't see any of that, But as soon as that stuff does show, if it does, book your trips and go fishing, because we are still within, I think, the best cycle in the history of sport fishing Southern California, for sure.
100%, right? It has to be.
Yeah.
I mean, even like the late 1800s, like the Zane Grey and all that. This is incredible.
Yeah. And like I said, you could always look at your own sample set and make your own deductions as to how you feel things are going now. But by and large, fishing right now is much better than it's going to be in 20 years from now.
Yeah.
It's a prediction. Hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully it keeps this pace forever. But history shows that that's just not the case. Nature and the cycles of nature, just kind of, that's what we have to go on. So I'd say go fishing now, book your trips. Make your reservations and get out there.
It's amazing how we become so accustomed to this too. Like it's no big deal. Like if before this bluefin thing happened, I would have said to you, "Hey Sam, what would you give for like 10 years in a row of 50 to 200? What would you'd go? Well, first of all, that's fantasy.
Yeah.
And second,
100%.
I'd die for that.
Yeah.
And here it is.
Well, and that's the thing too, is that unless you've been fishing for 30 plus years, it's hard to really imagine, all the times that we, had dreams about fishing like this. It isn't like we didn't think it was possible, only because we're, as fishermen, I think our nature is that you wake up, you get your gear on the boat, and anything is possible, right? And so anytime you get on a boat, you just think to yourself, well, we're going to go to Catalina, and today's the day that the yellows just come out of nowhere, and they're wide open. And that does happen over the time. I have had days like that. I have had days where there was no reason to think that day was going to be an awesome day, and you get out there and it was like, I got 12 yellows today, like I have had those days.
Yeah.
But we go there every day thinking that that's going to be the day, and it really doesn't ever happen, So now we've had, like you say, 10 years of this, where, granted, maybe the yellowtail wasn't like that every day, but we had a good stretch of yellowtail where, it was like that for a couple years in a row. But this bluefin, this offshore tuna, has been like that, where you can almost predict it. Hey, I'm going to go on a trip in August. Well, I better make sure I got like a big room in my freezer because I'm going to bring home 300 pounds of meat.
Yeah, right.
That's definitely not out of the question. And I think that kind of situation is something, and I'm talking on a day and a half trip, not a 10-day trip. That kind of situation is very, very possible on you guys' trips from, I would say, June through November, where you can go down. And this fish that they're getting down there below right now, I'm really anxious to see what they see this weekend, which sounds like there's going to be 5 or 6 boats down there.
Yeah, there's a bunch of guys heading down there.
And once again, reality, is that, the chances are, I don't know, whatever they are, but I feel like, man, that stuff's going to be there. And if it's there,
You're talking about that bluefin and yellowfin. Yeah.
And if it's there, I'm going to be like, wow, that's pretty incredible.
That's crazy, man.
Another example of just how good a fishing we have to look forward to.
And of course, you've made the point, and I think appropriately so, that fish that's down there at 300 miles, if it is there in the wintertime in the cold water, once we get into spring and it warms up, it could push up towards San Diego pretty quick early in the year.
Yeah, we could have.
Wouldn't that be something?
Yellowfin. That's once again another thing that I don't know. I'm sure that there's got to be something recorded somewhere where they caught yellowfin here, but nothing in the last 50 years, nothing in the last probably 100 years.
Yeah, right.
You know, so it's pretty incredible, the possibility.
All right, Chad Christopher wants to know what my best memory of 2024 was. Well, Notre Dame beating USA. That's probably it. That was great.
Enjoy it while you got it.
Just kidding. Probably on a fishing, I would say that 8-day trip on the Independence just surpassed all my expectations because every time, you know, when you zig and you zag and you should have zigged it, or you know how that, everything we did was just right on, and it was outstanding. Bluefin fishing. When Scott Bukert can get a 200-pounder, that's as wide open as it's ever going to get.
If you're ever looking for a sign, that's it.
That's it, man. Yeah. So it was probably that trip for me. And he wants to know what your favorite trip or favorite memory of 24 was.
You know, it's a tough one. You know, I had a few good trips this year. I didn't get out as fishing as much as I would have wanted, but the trips that I went on were really good. You know, taking my kids out, Diego and Luna, well, mostly Diego, but both of them taking them out fishing this year were great. And so I'm always going to remember that. It was pretty fun. As far as on my own kind of fishing, I mean, you know, maybe that Cedros fishing. You know, Cedros to me, just because I enjoy throwing the iron, is something that, you know, I don't think it was any better than last year. I think last year was just as fun, but this year, just looking at this year as a window, you know, that trip to Cedros was pretty incredible.
Yeah, I mean, you and Tyler, when you guys start talking about that, man, it's like I can see you can't wipe the smile off your faces.
I mean, I've caught a lot of tuna, and I've caught a lot bigger tuna than yellowtail, but the kind of fishing that we have for that yellowtail, like I was saying earlier, like dream that you have every morning when you get to the landing, 3/4 day boat, you're gonna go to Catalina. Well, it's like that every day. Like, you know, it's the best fishing you've ever had. So
yeah,
pretty awesome.
Dezung Duong, who is one fine gentleman, fished with him on the Apollo. So good to have you here. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to Sam and Phil. Thanks for all the shows. Thanks for being here. Our pleasure for sure. Steve Nyes. Oh, Steve. I'd like to see Steve dressed up as a Santa Claus once. I think he'd be good. Sam, let's see those bargain blanks, I think he's saying, or barging blanks. Beside you. Also, any other deals going on? Yes, whatever your name is, Sam.
So, well, there is, I don't know, he can't see them over here, but there is a little rack here of some discount blanks. So, not really much to show there. It's fine.
Bad suggestion, Steve, in other words.
But we do have some guys that if you're looking to get into rod wrapping, or if you want to wrap something for a kid or just practice, we do have some stuff over here, starting from $20 to about $60 or $70, something like that. And so if you want to look at that, the stuff here that he's asking about is actually kind of a cool new thing. United Composites has done this this kind of limited run. They're calling it an antifreeze color. So it's the same blanks, nothing different as far as the action or nothing like that. Like this here is a GP80 Monster. I'm not sure how that's going to show up too good in the color.
Looks pretty good.
It's a green blank, or kind of a green color. And Randy over there has been kind of showing these off a little bit, and we got a few of them. We do have more coming, but there is about 10 or 12 blanks here, a couple of different models, some GP stuff, some US stuff, and some inshore stuff here. So pretty cool stuff. If you guys want to come check that out. I know he's done a better job of taking a picture in the sun and how it's going to look. It's a really, really attractive blank, and I'm sure a lot of guys have already had some ideas as to how they're going to wrap them, but that's what that is there, Steve. And I think he was asking me about
any other deals.
A model, yeah. As far as any other deals, we will be coming up with some stuff here. Just kind of stay tuned. But if you saw my last post that I did for Black Friday, it's going to be pretty similar to that. So for you guys that are looking for a deal coming up, and if you had any money left over Christmas here, you can come spend it here. We'll give you a discount on something.
All right, perfect. Sounds good to me. All right, Steve, very good. Excellent suggestions there. You did a great job. Chad Christopher, Sam, we already asked you that. Mm-hmm. That's right. I jumped ahead. Carlos G, Phil, Sam, have you guys ever had pollo campero? Jet, you should check it out. Have you ever had it?
I haven't.
¿Dónde está eso, Carlos? ¿Dónde está pollo campero? All right, and back to our friend. Doug Tilk's even here. Duong. Hi, Sam. What UC bait casting rod Shimano Trans reel that you recommend for calicos at Cedros?
He's on the calico one. I think you passed him up.
Oh, I did.
Yeah. So
Hold on. Let me go.
Actually asked two questions. One was as far as a UC bait casting rod and Shimano Tranx reel. So we'll answer that one first. I'm
trying to skip ahead to the chicken wings too
you're
fast.
way down there.
Sorry about that.
So the one that I use is their 711 Heavy, and I've been taking that for a couple years. But the medium heavy or the heavy would be fine. I like the heavy only in case you hook a yellowtail or something like that. You're in a little bit better shape. As far as the reel, I take the Tranx 400. I think that's the one to take. And the reason I take that one for the same reason, I think that you never know when you can hook a big yellowtail. A lot of people do take the 300 size only because it'll cast some smaller stuff better. And really, it's probably going to be enough. But personally, I like the 400. I just like the size of it in my hand. But the 300 or 400, preferably the 400.
Hey, thank Randy for me, by the way. I asked him to do green Notre Dame colors for this year. It was very nice of him. Yeah,
man,
motor oil. That's fighting Irish green there,
They're
man.
never going to sell now.
What are you talking about?
Come on, man.
Randy, if the Irish win the national championship this year, you got it, man. Thank you. Probably loves SA and hates Notre Dame. All right, let's see. Tony Gonzalez.
Oh.
Or are we back to Duong?
Well, yeah, because he had asked a question before.
Yeah. Oh, okay. But now we're on Tony Gonzalez, right?
Well, no.
Oh, we're jumping down to him again, or?
Well, no, you went all the way down.
Yeah, I know I did.
But
Well, we
come
got
back up.
that. Did we get this one?
No.
Okay, Sam, I'm planning for a Cedros trip in late August. What you see in Shimano, Talica, or Trinidad do you recommend for yellowtail fishing, yo-yo, and surface iron fishing? Great question.
So in that lineup, they have quite a few different ones, but something like a tilefish or a monster would be good. As far as the Talica or Trinidad, the Trinidad 20, Talica 12 would be good. The Talica would make a nice option only because you can also troll with it. So it has a lever drag, so it's a little easier to control the drag. So if you wanted a double duty or reel, a rod and reel, that Talica 12 with like a tilefish would be good.
All right, very good. Tony Gonzalez says the bluefin tuna came in and everything went out.
Yeah, I really don't agree there, Tony. I know there's a few things. I think that sand bass has been gone before the bluefin got here, for sure.
Albacore was gone before the bluefin got here,
Albacore was
right?
gone too. That yellowtail actually, once again, historically, Catalina hasn't really been like the yellowtail island. But within this cycle that we've had, this last 10 years, we have had better yellowtail fishing overall. If you were to measure this past 10 years over the past 20 years, I would say that the yellowtail fishing has been better. This past 2 years, maybe not as much, but once again, if we have to look at it on a larger scale.
Yeah. They call that the Scott Buchert effect, by the way.
It is.
Scott walks into a room.
Everybody leaves.
Man, I'll tell you.
Pretty
Especially
scientific.
me.
That guy's making it to these high level discussions. That guy.
Yeah, man. He must have called me. It was an average day, like 64 times today.
Yeah.
I would say at least. Raul Almaraz, Sam. Thanks for that. I have another question for you. I have a 2-fathom 115 NX. Blah blah blah
Extra
blah.
narrow, lever drag
Thank
2-speed.
you.
Yep.
And wants to handle. I need a
Change the
handle. Do you have any in stock?
Yeah, we do. We have the Tiburon handle. We may even be able to do something. We have one that's kind of a mix between the Tiburon and the pen handle, but I think that might be what you have if you have the newer version already. In fact, the one that it comes with in the newer version I think is pretty nice, but if you wanted to change something else, we do have the Tiburon one.
Thank you, Raul. Steve Nye says, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to the Tackle Shop Confession. So thank you, Steve. Sam and I deeply appreciate it, man. That is awesome. Tackle Shop Confessions. What a hit it has become, Sam. Let me tell you. Chad Nichols says, Santa Cruz Pier collapsed in the big swell event today. I didn't know that. Wow.
Yeah, it was a pretty big event for sure.
Yeah, it is, man. It's nasty out there. Tony Gonzalez is back to make his point. Barracuda, sand bass, albacore, even the yellowtail are not showing as back in the 90, 2000. Scared them all away.
Yeah,
the bluefin have cast a spell.
They have.
I guess, right? What would be the reason, Tony? What do you
Even that
care to-
Barracuda hasn't really been around for a while either. That's another one too. It'll come around for about 2 weeks and then gone. But
You're blaming the poor bluefin now
yeah,
too,
but
like Tony?
But that was gone before the bluefin got here, so I don't know.
Squid.
Yeah.
Humboldt squid, we're blaming. Yeah.
So
Somebody's going to get the blame for this.
But you know what though? There's got to be other factors involved because both that Barracuda and sand bass, You go down below the border, and
Woo-hoo!
it's pretty plentiful.
Yeah, it is.
Pretty plentiful. So, I don't know. It's something around up here.
All right, we don't know what's going on, but we'll try to figure it out. Tony, if you happen to have any kind of an idea of why or how the bluefin have managed to do this, please leave a comment up there. We'd like to know. Christopher Navarro, Chad, I posted the Santa Cruz Pier link above.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Christopher. Chad Nickel, thanks. I'll check it out.
Perfect.
Okay, very good. Duong.
That's where you had.
We got this one, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Doug Tilk, who I called Tick and Scott calls Kilk. We got all kinds of names for him. Doug Tilk, hi Sam and Phil. I'm seated in row 16, seat 12. Oh yeah, hey Doug! There he is, shoot, behind all those other people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't see very good due to the crowd. Yeah, I know what you mean, man. Sam, what are the rod blanks behind you?
We were just talking about that.
Yes,
yeah,
we
yeah.
were. All right, donate challenge. Forever donate now. I'll double. Let's go. Challenge on.
Wow.
Let's do it.
Jeez.
Thank you very much, Chad. Christopher Navarro. It's going to suck when the bluefin go away. I'm going to be left with 3 trolling rigs. Who needs 3 of them? But they're not going anywhere.
Yeah,
Hang
we
in
don't
there,
know.
Chris.
I don't know when it does. I mean, people always say that too. Like, oh, when those bluefin go away, there's going to be a whole bunch of tackle up for sale. But I don't know.
I don't think so, because let's say they go away for a year. You're going to be thinking, well, they'll be back.
Yeah.
So you're hanging onto your tackle.
And there's going to be people who do. They sell it, and then the stuff comes back, and they're going to say,
Oh
man,
man, now I got to go. I'll buy all new stuff,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah.
more expensive now than it was. And
Whatever, yeah. So, I mean, for right now, enjoy what we have. Go fishing, make your reservations and enjoy what we have. It is truly historic. It really is, 100 years from now, they're going to talk about this cycle as something that was, it was
amazing.
never, yeah, there's no reason for it to have happened. And the people who went fishing, good for them. And the people who couldn't, and how many people have waited their whole lives and they come to this and then maybe some, health reason they don't go fishing.
Right,
something like
right.
That, I mean, this is a pretty special occurrence. And I think that that guys who just love fishing, I mean, I can't see any really good reason not to go.
Yeah, really. And another 10 years for me and like 30 for you, we'll be saying, you damn kids, you
don't
should
know-
have seen how good it was back in
Yeah.
like 3 months for me. What am I talking
Yeah.
about? 30 years for you. All right, where are we? We're with Mackie. Mackie, what's going on, man? Why aren't you here? Sam, what's a good rod blank for chucking whole squid and squid strips? One line class for targeting larger yellows and sea bass, and a lighter line class for calico bass and other smaller species.
So there's going to be a lot of them. Obviously one heavier, one lighter, like you're saying. I personally like throwing that kind of stuff when you're fishing a lead head and squid or maybe a squid on a sliding sinker or something like that. I like using a longer rod. I think that you can get to where you're fishing some of this stuff. And a longer rod is just something that I think, especially when you're going to go set the hook, you're moving more line and you could have a little bit better hook set. A lot of times, especially with the sea bass, you get into a situation where you can get to where you don't even hardly know whether they're biting your hook.
Oh, we had an earthquake. Do you feel that?
What was that? Man,
Did you see that?
yeah, that must have been like a 4-point something.
Yeah. It's, I don't know what it was. It was an earthquake. I'm telling you. Do you
Oh,
feel
there's
that?
another one.
Oh, that's an aftershock.
Yeah,
They name earthquakes now in California. That
Yeah.
one was Luna.
that one was Luna.
Yeah, it was called
Yes.
Luna. The Luna earthquake.
But
we
yeah,
like that,
so
Luna.
You get into like a 30 to 60 pound rod, and 8 to 9 foot really is probably appropriate. I like a 9 footer, but even an 8 footer would be fine. And in the lighter stuff, you're gonna go maybe more like a 12 to 30 or a 15 to 30, something like that. And also 8 to 9 foot.
Man, we got a great crew. The technology here at Island Fishing Tqckle,
All hands on
Doug Tilk
deck.
jumped right in, and he calmed that earthquake down. I don't know how he did it, and straightened the camera out right away.
New stabilizer.
Yes. Isaac Parcell. Isaac, good to see you, my friend. I think you were fishing, where were you? At Pyramid or something like that today, catching trout. Good evening and Merry Christmas, everyone. Such a great year. Thank you for all the shows. Thank you, Sam, for all the shows. I don't know how we've managed to do it, but we've managed. Man, all right, let's see what we got going here now.
Cool Granddaddy Sweets.
Yeah, I jumped in. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I did. Oh,
trying
man,
to see
did
what's
I ever?
going
Is
on
that
down
it?
there,
A
yeah.
lot of squid and anchovies in Ventura, says Abe. What does, for your albacore prediction, Great Swami Phil? Hold on, Abe. Let me think about this. Yes, albacore in Southern California on July 10th, 2025. There it is.
There it is.
Just came to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that,
There it is. Take it to the bank, man.
What did it look like? Was it just like a bunch of numbers, or
No,
like,
no, no,
was it
no,
more
no,
of a
no, no.
vision?
It was a vision.
Vision, yeah, yeah.
Big long fin
Yeah,
swimming in, going right towards Southern California, and then you look behind it, and there's all these other long fin just pushing
Gliding,
right in.
yeah.
And they glide right in to the Bonda Bank, right off Ensenada.
Yeah.
And they start getting them. And then they work their way up to the 60, and they're getting them there. And the butterflies loaded with them. And then pretty soon, they're on the 43, they're on the 390, they're everywhere.
They're everywhere. Full speed
Pretty much.
on July 10th.
You guys believe this? No, they don't believe it. Nobody believes it.
You know, one of the things that guys haven't ever seen, I mean, for these guys that haven't caught a bluefin, not everybody has it, but the vision of those things following the boat with their wings open like that.
Oh, that's so cool.
It
right?
is cool, you know, I mean, you know, you're describing it that way, but it just made me think how many times I have seen that.
Yeah, when they come in and they're just,
Yeah, the wings are just
They're
out like
gliding
They're
like-
gliding, yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
they're such cool fish,
Yeah.
man. Chad Christopher says, fished with Scott Buchert, it's always tangle line. That's true. I've learned not to fish next to him. Sorry, Scott, but it's the truth. Very true.
Yeah, and Scott knows it.
Hey, Scott, you know it.
Yeah, yeah.
Where is Scott tonight? I think he might be working, but he was calling me full speed all the way here. I finally put the block on, so I couldn't screw up the show tonight. Tim P., did you see what happened to the Santa Cruz Pier? We did, and I believe there's a link, that Chad or somebody put up there, Chris Navarro. Yeah, so that is awful. Dino says, Merry Christmas, Phil and Sam. Dino, Merry Christmas, Savin. Sorry I haven't made any trips this season. I've been concentrating my fishing on bass, fresh, and salt. It's been a phenomenal year for me. See you guys soon. Way to go, Dino. And there's a guy saying
go, right
it's a
there.
fantastic year, right?
Yeah.
Mitchell, it's always great to see you, Mitchell, here. Halibut Man says, Merry Christmas to all Friedman family, Sam and Phil. Mitchell, same to you and your girlfriend and all your loved ones, my friend. Feliz Navidad, Familia Friedman, with a little Espanol there. Thank you so much, Mitchell. Chuck Zimmer, my man. I love Chuck, man. Thank you, Chuck, again for the donation of the rods to help us make a little money for our Mexico efforts. I built a trout rod and was having trouble with reel recommendations for the guy I built it for. Need some freshwater schooling.
You know, as far as the trout stuff, the standard is a 1,000 size reel. So if you're going to look at reels, you want to start there just by searching that up. And your prices are going to go everywhere from $20 to, you know, $250 or something like that. And there's some that even cost more than that. But that 1,000 size reel is where you're going to find most of your options. There are a couple of the brands that have a few of the 500 size reels. And some guys that are really into the 2-pound light line stuff, they prefer that 500 size reel only because they only want to put so much line on the reel as it is, and that allows you to do that. You don't need all that line on the bigger reel. But honestly, the 1,000 size reel filled with 4-pound, Island Triple X is going to be able to handle most situations in Southern California, even up into the Sierras. And so that's what I'd be searching for. Daiwa makes a whole bunch of good ones. Shimano makes a whole bunch of good ones. You're going to start getting into like the nicer, quote unquote, nicer reels. You're going to start seeing those right around $100. And there's a lot of options in those too. So do your search on that, but it's going to be a 1,000 size reel.
All right, good stuff. Rocket Dog, haven't seen you for a while, my friend.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here. Hi, Phil and Sam. Happy holidays. You know Rocket Dog?
Yeah, who is?
I don't know.
It's been a while. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while since he's
I feel
always.
like he was a regular before.
Yeah, I think he was. Where have you been, man? It's good to, well, forget that. It's just great to see you back. Carlos G with more intel on Pollo Campero, 167th and Hawthorne Boulevard in Lawndale, Century and Yukon in Inglewood, Firestone and Garfield in Southgate. Really good stuff. Man, we just gave them a heck of a plug. They ought to send
Yeah.
some chicken over here tonight, right?
I'm sure they're watching.
Yeah, really. Well, Carlos will let them know.
Yeah.
Cue Ball says, Merry Christmas, everybody. And we say Merry Christmas to you. Halibut Man, oh, can't forget Mackie, Merry Christmas, brother. That's right, man. Michael Limon. Isaac sends over $20. Isaac, thank you so very much. I'm going to start dancing here, Sam. I'll tell you. Get some wings. Mackie, what's that mean? He's crying? I hate these emoji things. I can never
He's
figure
giving
them
you a
out.
kiss.
Oh, Chad Christopher sends $20. We're getting rich here tonight, Doug. What the heck? Let's celebrate. Chad sends $50.
Shoo.
Woohoo! Oh my God! Thank you guys. I mean it sincerely. This is awesome, man. I'm telling you, Sam. I may not have to go back to China here pretty soon and start teaching again. Chad Christopher, wishing all the best holidays. Merry Christmas. Thank you so very much. Save some for your reel. Mackie says to Chad, hey, butt out, Mackie. Yeah. Chad Christopher. What's shaking, fellas? Says Cue Ball. You want to tell them what's shaking?
I think the camera was shaking.
Chris Navarro, $20. We're getting rich tonight.
Woo,
You're not getting any of this. Well, what do you? I don't even know how to get it out of there. Yeah. There's a whole bunch in there. Sam, I am, and Grandpa Phil, get some wings. Love the show and wish I was there. See you next week. Man, thank you for your kindness and generosity, everybody. We really, really appreciate it. He was at Silverwood, Isaac was. I was working, Ethan was out with his buddies, 3 largemouth for them today. Okay, I didn't even notice what it was. Very good. Cool Granddaddy with the emojis, which I don't know what they are. Rob S., albacore off the Newport Jetty, LOL. I say absolutely.
Why not?
Yeah, Dipley used to say they're so wide open, they're going to bite up in the LA River, when back in the day. Steve Nyes. Steve, we love you. So what you're saying is that albacore will be on sale at Ralph's on July 10th, 2025. Thanks for the update. I think it's probably on sale right now, Steve. Mike Krinkovich, who Scott Bucher calls the Cranker. Oops, now I totally screwed things up. What did I do? Man, I don't even know what I did.
Yeah, it says, hello there, you two sunshines.
Go ahead.
And we have one more there, Chris Navarro says, where's Michael?
Yeah, where is Michael? Is that it?
That was it.
I did something weird here. All right.
That's it?
I don't know because I've got my, hold on, let me see if I can fix this real quick.
Yeah, good morning.
I know. Oh, I fixed it. Man, what a shame.
Where's Michael?
Yeah, where's Michael? All right. Hey, I mean, I don't know. Well, how long have we been going tonight? It doesn't really matter.
It doesn't really matter.
No, I mean, it's Christmas, right?
Yeah.
Well, listen to these guys. Man. I love these guys. Hey, you guys, Merry Christmas. Thank you so much for joining Sam and I. Great memories from this show. Are we going to do this
Sure.
next week? Why not, right? The week before. Hey, the Zong Duong has a question. Thought you were going to get away, didn't you? Hi, Sam. For Cedros, do you use the same setup for yo-yo and surface iron, or do you use a different setup?
I do. I use the same setup, but I will tell you that it's really more of a surface iron setup for me. That's my main deal. The yo-yo fishing over there can be good at times, but typically I'm really more kind of focused on the surface iron stuff. But if it turns out that they're only biting the surface iron, which last year we did have a day, actually 2 days, where that was kind of biting better. And so I just stuck it on one of those long rods and was fishing a yo-yo iron that way with a traded at 20. But if you were going to take a specific yo-yo rod, I definitely would go a little shorter for that. But for me, I'm really more focused on the surface iron, and that's what I'm using and adapting to the yo-yo iron after that.
All right, good stuff. Man, here we go. Mackie says run before somebody asks about perch.
He's right.
Scott Buchert's the man that will do that. Have a good evening. Get some wings. Thank you. Short night for Christmas. Hey, we've been going an hour. Does it seem like it? Doesn't seem like it, does it, man? That went zoom by. Chris Navarro with $20. Wings for Diego and Luna. Merry Christmas, kids. I think the kids should run out here for a second. Can they come out here and say hello?
Yeah, you
come
can.
out here and wave to your audience out there. You're taking the place of Michael Limon. Yes. Are you really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's it. You want to wave to everybody out there? Say Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
All right, kids, you guys are number one. Thank you, Chris. I thought you should see the smiles on these kids' faces here. Mike, the cranker Krinkovich says, Merry Christmas, everyone. How's Christmas for you? Do you like Christmas as a holiday?
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
Christmas.
I mean, especially now with the kids too, you kind of get to relive a lot of the stuff.
Oh
so
my God!
that's awesome.
Do you feel the earthquake again?
Yeah, it was another one.
It was
Yeah,
that Luna quake again, I think. Oh! I felt a little aftershock there. Or it was again. Okay. Let's see. What is that? Fluger Presidential 20 and Akuma 66 for trout fishing. For my son for Christmas, I'm sure I spelled that wrong.
Yeah.
Rob S. Did he spell it wrong?
He did the Fluger part of it, but yeah.
That's all right. We'll
that'd be
forgive
good.
you.
You're good. You're definitely good there.
Yeah. And Greg,
Cool, Grant.
Cool Granddaddy's cracking up at the show tonight. We crack up every night. Hey, hit that like button. Come down and visit Sam tomorrow. Sam, give the details about your location and phone number and everything else, please.
So for you guys that want to come see us, we are at 21809 Avalon Boulevard. Phone number here is 310-707-1205. And tomorrow, Christmas Eve, we will be here till about 2 o'clock. So for you guys that are last minute shopping or just figured you want to buy something for yourself before Christmas, come on down. We'll be here till about 2 o'clock.
All right, and I'll be with a morning briefing tomorrow morning. So I'll catch you guys bright and early on the beach. We'll see how big that surf is, run down what fishing there is, and do that. And pretty soon, our technical director tonight, Diego, is going to hit the little X at the top of there. Do you know where that is?
Yeah.
And we're going to say goodbye, and then he's going to push finished or whatever it is on there.
Are you gonna be like closed on like Christmas?
Are you closed on
We're
Christmas?
closed on Christmas Day, yes.
Why? Do you want him to be closed on Christmas? Heck yeah, you do, right? Daddy works really hard all the time, man. That's what I love about Sam. All right, thanks, everybody. Oh, hold on. That wasn't an earthquake. Halibut man broke wind.
Oh, geez.
Oh, wow. Woohoo! Eat some wings. Go Irish! And Merry Christmas. Rob, go Irish.
Merry
Beat
Christmas, everybody.
Georgia. Thanks, everybody. Merry Christmas. God bless. And we'll see you next week for another edition of Tackle Shop Confessions. See you in the morning for the morning briefing. Take over, Diego.